Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of The Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads from DC Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is The Absolute Mr. Miracle, one of my most wanted Absolute editions for years that I've been doing my top, I do top 10 most wanted DC Absolutes. This was always on the list, and I know I'm not alone. A lot of people have been wanting this book. So the first thing we're going to look at is the design of this amazing slipcase here. It does come sealed in plastic, and you do have a little leaflet that will be taken off here. It's held together by that just a little drop of goo right there. And you have this Kirby-ish machine design right here that is keeping Scott trapped. Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads. The DC logo. Not the Bullet logo, just the DC logo there. And then this, which has a die-cut design. Oh, this is so cool. So, slipcase. There we go. Let's get it out of there. And it is a prison cell. Which the idea was to use it for the cover to issue number 12. But here is the piece right here by Mitch Gerads. And then again, the slipcase. Let's get this out of the way. And I just want to make sure people know this isn't flimsy cardboard. It's a thick piece. So, I mean, yeah, sure. Scott could break free from that. But I'm just saying it's not like going to fall apart unless you really push it down. Don't do that. No dust jacket. Just the art on board. And then this pattern right here, which will loop around to this creepy image of Scott free trying to get out. And Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads, the DC Black Label logo down there. And that's the way I keep my Absolutes, with the book spine out, so it doesn't have Absolute Mr. Miracle up here. It's an interesting design to keep it all small down there. And then, of course, the DC Black Label logo down there, which sometimes they put on their DC Black Label books, and then sometimes they just put the DC logo. Now, this has been previously released in a trade paperback, of course, single issues, a deluxe hardcover, a standard size hardcover, and I've done an overview of the standard size hardcover, which came out about 6 years ago, and then the deluxe edition here came out a couple of years ago, and then we're finally here to this point. So I'll do a little bit of a comparison here, and of course to see what's missing from this that is included in this big oversized book. So what I'm going to do is give you a pitch of the stories in here and show off this beautiful artwork. And of course, look at all the extras in the back, and then we'll look at the build of the book. And of course, compare it to the deluxe edition. All right, let's go ahead and crack this Absolute open. And here we have this glitchy design that you're going to be seeing throughout the entire book here. And this is Scott Free right here, aka Mr. Miracle. And of course the credits over here, Tom King, Mitch Gerads, and Mike Norton doing the prologue, and then Jordi Belair doing the prologue right here as the colors. And Mitch just doing the entire art, the colors, the inks, and of course the pencils. Clayton Cowles doing the lettering, and Nick Darrington supplying the original series cover art. While there's a lot of other different comic book artists that do the variant covers. And here we have Mr. Miracle, New Gods, created by Jack Kirby. I love that they give Kirby his due. And then special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family, and that's probably due to the use of Supergirl and Superman. And you have an introduction here by Tom King, who talks about exactly how this idea came about. This is the same introduction, by the way, that is found in the deluxe edition. It talks about having a near-death experience. It turned out to be like a big panic attack that he had. Took him to the hospital, and then he wanted to write, his experience about what he would be missing out and the legacy that he leaves down to his kids. So that's where the idea came from, but just kind of it became something completely different after that. So collected in here is Mr. Miracle, issues 1 through 12. And the book has 392 pages and retails for $125. At the very beginning, we have the Mike Norton and Jordi Belair art right here, and it's kind of like a talk show introducing us to the character of Mr. Miracle. Now, I'm going to go ahead and answer this question that I get asked often about this book in other books by Tom King for some reason, but do you have to have read any Fourth World or Mr. Miracle before reading this? No, absolutely not. No, as a matter of fact, I don't think it would help to read Jack Kirby's Fourth World or his Mr. Miracle series or the appearances that Scott Free made in the JLA when he became a member with Big Barda, or Justice League International. I don't think it would help at all. I think coming into this with not knowing who the character is, you'll actually enjoy it more, because what I like to always state about Tom King is that he writes these stories like they're set in an alternate reality, like they're all in pocket universes. So everything that you come with, like that backlog of information and history that you bring with comics continuity, take it, put it in a ball, and toss it aside, because it ain't gonna come in handy. Now, of course, there are wonderful Easter eggs and homages through here, so if you have read the stuff, it helps out. When I read it the first time, I had not read much Mr. Miracle from Fourth World when this came out in hardcover, I think like 6 years ago. I had only read, his stuff in JLA. There was the stuff in Final Crisis, and there's the stuff in the Rock of Ages, which, again, JLA, which is where the idea for Darkness, or Darkseid came from. That's where you see Grant Morrison write those particular words that are used throughout this entire story. But I hadn't read anything of Fourth World. It wasn't until just like 3 or 4 years ago that I finally read the whole thing, or Mr. Miracle for that matter, because that was part of the Fourth World Omnibus. So after reading that, I can see this now in a different light. I could see this as more of a love letter to Jack Kirby and what he was trying to escape from. I think it's a beautiful love letter to that. And again, mileage will vary with this book. People get different things out of it, and I think that's the beauty behind something like this. And that's also the thing with writers like Tom King. They make you think. And when you think about the stories in here, someone else is having different thoughts and got something completely different out of it. All right, back to the story. Spoilers going into this. I'm just going to give you the pitch. For the first couple of issues, I'll spoil some things just to kind of keep the momentum going. All right, so at the very beginning, we are told the story of New Genesis and Apocalypse. Highfather belongs to New Genesis, and Darkseid rules over Apocalypse. There's this huge war between these gods that they're fighting each other. You have the new gods, all of them fighting each other, dedicating themselves to this long war. Until one day, there's a truce, and the truce is made when Darkseid and the Highfather switch sons. The Highfather gives Darkseid his son, which will be named Scott Free and will become Mr. Miracle, and Darkseid gives the Highfather his son, Orion. And they are raised completely different, and torture after torture, Scott Free finally breaks free. Yep. Yeah, no pun intended, really. With the help of Big Barda, he comes to Earth, and you get a quick little just synopsis as to how he became Mr. Miracle by ending up joining this escape artist known as Mr. Miracle, who gets killed and fights alongside Orion and Big Barda to take down Darkseid, makes friends with Oberon. I don't think they even name Oberon through here. And then we fast forward to today. Now, as I mentioned, spoilers going into this, and also self-harm. You can't read books like that. And I know that people are like, life doesn't give you trigger warnings. I know. I'm the same way, but not everybody functions the same way. So, at the very beginning, we do have Scott Free that is trying to commit suicide. Unsuccessfully. And we'll come back to that. So the rest of this story is done in 9 panel grids. Every page has 9 panels, with the exception of, I think, maybe just 2 handful of non-9 panel grids. It's done in this format. Now we have Scott living life here with his wife, Big Barda, and going through just regular marital issues, fighting and the beauty of marriage and the love that there is, the ups and downs, while in the background, Darkseid is. So that means that with the help of the boom tube, he and Barda will be embarking on this big, long fight against Darkseid. So they're living here on Earth, having this marital bliss sort of life, talking about furniture and rearranging furniture, talking about changes, and then while on Apocalypse, they are fighting this big fight. And that's what the story is basically about. That's just the top layer. The inner layer is so much more. Because the story really, to break it down, is about depression. And when you're talking about a character like Darkseid that has focused in the past on, or just made it his big thing to just be the anti-life equation that he needs to go after, that's what makes you start thinking, wait, did Scott successfully kill himself and everything here is just him living through hell? Or is this heaven? Or is it purgatory? What exactly is happening? Because we're seeing glitches throughout the panels. He makes mention that Barda's eye colors aren't the same as before, and they change. So that the anti-life equation hit him. And that's the kind of questions you'll be asking. It is literally the drainage of hope through the story. And how resilient you can be to get up every day. And to not just go into this big, huge battle, but also pay the bills. Do your laundry. And that's what the beauty of this book is. Now, a lot of people, like I said, there's a huge difference of opinion as to what it means, what the ending means. I will leave you to find out. But to me, I think this is one of the best representations of marriage that I've seen in any comic book, because it's not all happiness. It's arguing, and it's about bickering about the small things while you're trying to survive this huge battle. Like, I think this is a wonderful just mirror image of what's happening in people's relationship, right? Like, and I know a lot of comic book writers do this too. Yeah, you see the relationships like, hey, with Jean and Scott, or even Kal-El and Lois Lane. When they're together, they have their ups and downs, but I don't think I've ever seen it like this, where it's just in your face, where she has body image problems because she really thinks that she's too big, even though she is a goddess, right? Like, she thinks that she's a big woman. And I think there is so much in here to just decipher for yourself. And like I always tell people, read it and judge it for yourself. Because I know that there are people that probably won't read this because they see Tom King's name attached, and hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just want people to come to the channel. I give them a pitch of a story, and it is up to you whether you check it out or not. If you're digging the artwork, if you're like, oh man, 9-panel grids just seem like it's overkill, and it can be. It's a little overwhelming at times, but there is a reason to that. Now, the last thing I'm going to say before we look at the extras, and it's not really a spoilery thing, but there is a lot of love letters here to that Kirby era. You're going to see a lot of characters from the New Gods and Fourth World stories, like Mr. Miracle's characters, his supporting cast, come back through here, and it's a love letter to Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, when he was trying to leave like Marvel Comics, right, during that time, because he wanted to create the Fourth World for Thor, but he wasn't given that freedom that he was looking for. So he escaped and went over to DC Comics, and at DC he was able to create so many things, but then comes the realization that they're just not selling as well. So there's cancellations, and you still have to be resilient and keep moving forward. I think there's a lot in this 12-issue maxi series that not a lot of comics do in 100 issues, which is why this is regarded as one of the greatest books, if not the greatest comic by Tom King. But again, mileage may vary. You might get something completely different out of this than I do. I know between the Astonishing Melanie and I, we get two different interpretations of the story of what really happened and what happens at the end. And I just love talking about movies like that and comics like that. Now, let's look at the extras. So the extras start off with a framed picture of the variant cover by Mitch Gerads. And then you have this one here with newer colors. You have the black and white piece right here. And again, more variant covers. Some of these I haven't seen. This one here, they made into a poster, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And more of these variants. Dark Side is. And this is the cover here to the deluxe edition, which I'll do a comparison to in a little bit. The glitch effect, of course. And then you do have the Inside Mr. Miracle #1. This is the original script within process art pages by Mitch Gerads. So here we have the script of just issue #1. And you can see the panel breakdowns and exactly how Tom King writes his script and how much freedom he gives the artist. Because, I mean, this is a collaboration. It's not just Tom King, right? This is a lot of Mitch in here. So much so that Mitch will go through the different models he used for the characters. This is the original unpublished script for Mr. Miracle #4, minus, I think it's page #8, because he lost it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, page 8 is missing from Tom's original draft. So again, this is the original idea that never came to be. And again, using the 9-panel grids. And there's the hidden miracles right here. This is what I was talking about. This is the models that Mitch Gerads, or is it Gerads? I can never get that right. And I've actually met him a couple times, but I've never asked him. So the idea is for the actual panels that he takes photographs of his family. Here's a breakdown of who these people are based on. Some of them are friends. Some of these people you may know from movies or podcasts. This is all new. This was not collected in the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition, by the way, has 376 pages, and this has 392 pages. This is really cool. So what they do here is break down, in case you're not familiar with Jack Kirby's Fourth World or Mr. Miracle, the first and last line of dialogue in every one of these issues, with the exception of course, the last page in issue #12. So I'm not going to go through all of them because it might spoil some things. It is a direct quote from the opening and end sequences of Jack Kirby's Mr. Miracle series. So you can see where it began and where he used it within the story. And it makes sense because it's like a third-party narration, making this a lot more complex than what it's set out to be. And man, it's wow! I forgot how good Jack Kirby drew that Big Barda. Woo! Not that Mitch is bad either. Let me fast forward a little bit through here. So then we get these cover sketches by Nick Darrington, who was the cover artist. And these we have seen before, because these are collected in the deluxe edition. But that unused script, that's new, as well as, of course, these right here, explaining where the captions came from. And then you have this right here. This is the Chris Burnham's rejected cover concept for Mr. Miracle #12. And then they used it for the Absolute Edition, but Mitch decided to redraw it since I guess he was the series artist. And then development art right here, which again is stuff that we've seen. And then the bio on Tom King and Mitch Gerads. And then they even throw in a poster. This is really cool. I can't let the astonishing Melanie see this because then she'll want to take it and hang it up. Catch the astonishing, amazing, fantastic, spectacular Mr. Miracle, signed by Scott Free, on tour now. Now, as far as the build of the book, we have 392 pages. And it is sewn binding and printed in this really, really thick, and I mean thick, glossy paper stock. There is a bookmark ribbon right here. Gotta love those. Now, what I want to do is compare the size of this to that of the deluxe edition, which my wife got signed, so now we can't gift. Okay, so the deluxe edition is printed in this, it's like that satin paper they've been using for their omnis, not quite matte, not quite glossy. And this is the comparison here. Seems like, maybe it's just my eyes deceiving me. No, the colors are a little bit more vibrant here in the Absolute Edition. And it is bigger, of course. But my eyes were deceiving me. Let's get to the first issue here. So look at the 9-panel grids. You know, the reason I say come into this without reading anything is because you're going to have characters like Light Ray through here and Forager that are acting almost out of character. You're not going to recognize them. Even Orion, who is always an unlikable prick, is more unlikable, believe it or not, through this story. But still, some redeeming qualities. Again, yeah, it's just a little bit more vibrant, and of course, the artwork is bigger because of that absolute size. Dark side is. But that is it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this Absolute Edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this Absolute Edition, and a quick comparison to the Deluxe Edition. And in the comments down below, let me know if you've had a chance to read this. If you've never read it, this is your first time going in and you waited for it in absolute format. If you're upgrading your standard size hardcover, your trade paperback, or your Deluxe Edition to get this. I would love to know all those comments down below. If you have any questions, leave those down below as well. But that's it, everybody. You all stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.